How's it going, guys? Welcome to part 9 of the series. In this part, we're going to be talking about functions. What are functions? Well, functions is just a bunch of code that you write that does what you want when you want it to be, when you want it to do something, okay? And essentially, it takes in things called parameters, which is just data types that we talked about before. It takes in, parameters could be a string, it could be a list, etc., etc. It can even be functions themselves, but we'll save that for a future tutorial. And it usually returns something useful. Okay, so let's make our first function. Let's just say our first function is called the first function, okay? Now this def is a keyword, okay? Every single time you write a function, you're going to need this keyword in front, and then this, you can call it whatever you want, right? This is the function name that you pick. In my case, I'm going to call it first function, and we're going to have round brackets here, which later on you'll see is where we put it, enter our arguments or parameters into our function, okay? So first function, and we say print, oh my god, my first function. Okay. I'm pressed run in here and it doesn't really print anything. You may ask why. Well, the reason is we're not calling our function yet. And in order to call our function, we write down the function name that we said, that we picked. So this is our name, and then we have the round brackets here. Okay. Now we should be able to see what we print. So this is our first function, okay? And you can put loops in here. You can write a for loop like last part that I said. You can write an if-else statement. You can write whatever you want, okay? That's the beauty of programming, right? Once you learn these little things, you can write any logic that you may like anywhere that you want. So let's try to play around with things called the parameters, right? So we got some data here. Okay, this is called a parameter. Okay, what this means is we have a function called first function, and you have to give it some sort of information, right? It's something that's called a parameter. And this could be anything, okay? This could be a list, this could be a tuple, and let's just say in this case we're going to enter COVID-19, okay? We're going to enter a string called COVID-19, COVID-19, okay? If there's a parameter here and you don't enter anything, you have nothing. Oh, sorry, let me take a step back. If a function has a parameter as part of its definition, okay, this is a function definition, and you call it without giving any kind of thing, any parameter to represent some data, it would run an error, okay? Because it says you're missing one positional argument, you're missing some data, you didn't give me anything. So let's just say we assign some data to COVID-19. Okay, now we can run it properly, but it's not showing me my COVID-19. Well, that's obvious. That should be obvious. It's because we didn't say to print out what we wanted to print out, and how we assign, how we are able to access this is, well, we just call it exactly what it is, right? So you can imagine that there's an imaginary line here that says some data equals COVID-19 at the moment when this is called. So that here the function is called. And it said, hey, so we got an argument called some data, and we're going to assign some data, which is a variable, and we're going to assign it to be called COVID-19, right? That's why when we ran this, we have COVID-19. And that goes the same if we sent it an integer, right? Prints an integer, we can have a list, and so on and so forth, right? Just to get even a clear idea, we have all of these things, and we see that, right, this is a string, this is a list, this is an integer, this is a boolean, this is a dictionary, and we see that it prints all of them because there's an imaginary some data equals each one of these data types, right? And then we print them all. This is to show you that it could really take in anything as the information. Now, we could also do this, right? There's other rules that functions could do that you may not know yet right now, and we can have more than one argument, right? So we have some data 1 and we have some data 2, and now you just have two parameters you have to fill up. Okay, that's all that means. You can have tons of parameters and you can print them all. So in this case, some data is going to equal to hello, some data 1 is going to equal to hello, some data 2 is going to equal to 3, and we're going to call first function with those parameters, and then we're going to print them out. That's why you have hello and 3 here, because we printed out some data 1 comma some data 2. Okay. What if I wanted? What if I didn't want this order? What if in the order that I passed my parameters? What if I wanted some data 2 to be equal to hello and some data 1 to be equal to 3? Well, we could just do this. Okay, some data 2 equals hello. So you can explicitly tell the function to assign whatever you want it to assign the parameters to be whatever you want it to be. Right, so let's just say this. So in this case, it should be 3 and hello because I reversed the order. Right, so you don't have to follow the order that the function definition gave you. You can set it yourself as long as you set something. As long as you set these parameters to something. You can even set these parameters to be something without assigning it on the function call. So in this case, we have some data equal to 3. We assign some data 2 to be hello here. This would work perfectly. Sorry, that is an error here. I didn't think this would happen. I'll cover this in the next tutorial. Sorry about that. So let's just ignore what I did. I'll fix it in another tutorial because I don't want to be wasting time here. We can also, like I said before, you can return something that you like, right? So if we did some data equals something, so we're gonna run this function. We're gonna pass in 2 and 3. It's gonna print something, and then it's gonna return some value that's some data 1. And in this case, some data 1 is 2. So our some data is gonna have the value of 2. If that makes sense. So this is a return keyword, and you return something here that to put it here. Okay. And finally, just like for loops, you may want to have an empty function someday, and you can't just do this because you need some code there. That's why you got the pass. Pass has got your back, and you just say instead of putting empty, pass does absolutely nothing. It's just to fill up the void the empty space that you're giving it. So that is part 9 of the series. If you enjoyed, give it a like, give this video a like, and subscribe to my channel. Sorry for the boo-boo that I made in this part, and hope to see you in the next part, which should be the last part of our series. Thanks for watching.